Remember last week talking about God's promise to Isaac, to Abraham, that he and Sarah were going to have a son? That was a big promise because they were very old. That almost sounded like an impossible promise. Did anybody ever make you an impossible promise and then it came true? When that happens, it's really exciting. Today, we're going to hear how that promise was fulfilled. God was gracious to Sarah, just as he said he would be. He did for Sarah what he had promised to do. Sarah became pregnant. She had a son by Abraham when he was old, and he was really old, older even than me. And his son was born at the exact time God had promised him. Abraham gave the name Isaac to the son Sarah had by him. When his son was 8 days old, Abraham circumcised him. He did it exactly as God had commanded him. Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born. That's pretty old. Sarah said, "God has given laughter to me. Everyone who hears about this will laugh with me." She continued, "Who would have said that Abraham that Sarah would nurse children? But I've had a son by him when he was old." Sarah was really excited to get to be a mom. She had waited so many years. Who else has had a new baby in their family and been excited? Or a new sister, maybe? I know somebody that has a new sister, and they were really excited. So this week, I want you to think about how important families are and how much happiness families bring us. Miss Shauna will be along a little bit later with a craft. You guys have a good week, and I'll see you next week. Bye.
Hello friends, it's Samuel. Do you remember how old Abraham and Sarah were? They were 100 years old. Whoa. They have been on a long journey of faith, believing in God's promises. They waited a long time to have a child, and they finally had a baby boy. His name was Isaac. They had been hoping to have a baby a lot sooner, but God makes promises happen according to God's time. What's so amazing about this story is that Abraham and Sarah waited and God's promise came true. They had faith to keep going, even when it seemed impossible. When Isaac was born, Sarah laughed. Maybe she laughed because she was happy. Maybe she laughed because this news was unbelievable. But Sarah's laughter was full of joy. Sarah had faith, and she finally got to see and experience God's promise right in front of her. Have you ever had faith or hope for something you really wanted? Was it hard? One year for my birthday, I really wanted to go to the park with my best friend, but it stormed all day and we couldn't go. I had waited all week for that day, and when it came, I was so disappointed we couldn't go. I was really sad. But the next day was sunny. I got to go to the park, and when I got there, all of my friends were there to surprise me, and we got to eat pizza. It wasn't the original plan, but it ended up being even better. Even though it was different and not what I planned, it still brought me joy. God answered Abraham and Sarah's prayer, but it looked way different than they imagined. Their journey of faith was long, but worth it because they had Isaac. Sometimes we won't get exactly what we want. But we can have faith that God is with us. We can still have hope, even when it's hard. As we journey with faith, we can believe in God's promises and be patient to see what will come. Now, it's your turn to wonder.
Welcome back to week 8 of Sunday school. So this week we're kind of discussing names. Sarah and Abraham had to choose a name for their baby, and they chose Isaac. Found out in the story that Isaac means laughter. I think we have an Isaac in Sunday school, so your name means laughter, Isaac. So in that, I looked up what my name means. Do you know what your name means? So Shauna, which is spelled S-H-A-W-N-A, when I looked that up, I found all sorts of different ways that you can spell that. Sometimes there's a U in there, just several different ways. And I found out that Shauna means God is gracious. I did not know that. So I'm going to add that to my name tag here. So, Shauna, God is gracious. So, you're going to get some name tags in your kit for this week, and I recommend going on the internet or having your parents help you, and you can find out what the meaning of your name is. I looked up a couple other ones while I was looking up mine. One of them I looked up is Trenton. That is my son Trenton. I think a lot of you know him. So Trenton means the town by the river, which probably makes sense because there's Trenton, New Jersey. So I think that's where a lot of that came from. I'll give this to him when we get home. So a couple other ones that I looked up this week. Bennett. Bennett means blessed. Jasmine. Jasmine is God's gift. Charlie. Charlie means free man. Lily. God is in abundance. Preston. Village with a priest. I didn't have time to look up everybody's, but it just took a second to get to there. I just typed in, what does the name Shauna mean? And then searched it, and it came right up. So, thank you for hanging out this week, and I hope everybody has a good week. Bye.